Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope everyone getting well by the grace of Almighty Allah. A wonderful day all of you. Welcome to our Institution of Global Professional International webinar. Thank you all for joining with us in this marvelous session, and I hope you stay with us till the program ends. And time to time you like our Facebook page, Facebook group, and also subscribe our YouTube channel for upcoming information. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to be associated with IGP as a global member, and I feel honored to host this webinar. And it's my delight to welcome you all for our Institution of Global Professional International webinar. Dear participants, before we have completed our 960 webinars successfully, now I will be presenting webinar number 970, and the topic is Neo Normal and Challenges in Education. Today we have a speaker from India. Today our speaker name is Mrs. Jaswinder Shetty. She is a regional director of G School. Let we welcome our speaker to the screen.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving me this opportunity to. Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay, so very good afternoon to each one of you present in this forum. I am grateful to Institute of Global Professionals, and I'm thankful to them for giving me this opportunity to interact at international platform. The topic which has been given to me is in think, and I think it is very important for all the educationists to brood upon this topic, new normal and challenges in education. So I just want to confirm whether my screen is it present? I'm presenting my screen, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So under this topic, we will be discussing new normal, how to prepare for the new normal, what to expect, what's new about the new normal, blaze a trail to scale up for the new normal, new tools for a new world, and how trailer is evolving, 9 essentials for returning to a new normal, problems faced in online education by teachers and students, reflection of new normal on college students and graduates, online teaching, the normal and hybrid teaching, and challenges in education, and then I would conclude. So, when I talk about new normal, it means it is actually the state in which the economy, society, etc., settles following a crisis, which when this differs from the situation which already prevailed or to the start of the crisis. And this term has been employed in relation to World War One, September 11 attacks, financial crisis 2007 2008, the aftermath of 2008 to 2012 global recession, that was a time, the COVID-19 pandemic, and other events. So, during this COVID-19, which I think we all witnessed and we all were, it was a havoc situation which was created after this COVID-19 pandemic. This term new normal, it has been increasingly used, and it refers to the change of human behavior during and after the pandemic situation. I just want to emphasize over here and bring you everyone, during the time of 2020 May, when a physician from the University of Kansas Health System predicted that daily life for most of the people would change during the pandemic after lifting of lockdowns. And this included person to person contact, handshakes, hugs, as well as maintaining distance from others, and which was termed as social distancing. This prediction would change. Maybe it was thought by the scientist or the physician that after the pandemic, the whole scenario will be changed. Just reminding you of January 2021, when Omicron variant SARS-CoV virus 2 was demonstrated. And at that particular time, the president of America, he issued the national strategy for COVID-19 response and pandemic preparedness. I'm just repeating that the president of America, he issued national strategy for COVID-19 response and pandemic preparedness. As the US moves from the crisis to control, this national strategy needs to be updated. So policymakers had to specify the goals, strategies for new normal, and they communicated clearly to the public. But surprisingly, in July 2021 only, that virus continued. It persisted, evolved, and surprised everyone. A space with the vaccination and the infection rates plummeting. It was proclaimed that we have gained the upper hand against the virus. And the Center of Disease Control and Prevention relaxed its guidance for mask wearing and socializing. I hope everybody remembers that when this statement was given, everybody in the society removed their mask, everybody started having a normal life. But soon, when Delta virus came in, everybody was thought to think that it was a premature decision. But late November, the Omicron created a concern about a perpetual state of emergency. That was then when everybody was forced to think, to adapt the new normal. Everybody realized that this virus is not going to go anywhere. We will all have to live with it. And there emerged the new normal, and like situations, work from home, parents homeschooling their children in new blended setting, lockdown, quarantine, mandatory wearing of face mask, face shields in public. So all these things in 21st century, they earmarked the worst year in 21st century. We all know that ripples of this situation spread into personal, social, economic, spiritual spheres. But we need to just think, is it really a new normal, or it is the reiteration of the old one? It has been evolved that certain people, like who were sportive, government, creative, church, adaptive, public, so called as the culture, they put forward this term new normal. And adapting to this new normal, I would carefully suggest that we examine the context and location of culture in which adaptations are needed. The new, I just want to also mention that this new normal first appeared in 2008, when the society, when at international level, financial crisis refer to the dramatic economic, cultural, and social transformation that caused precariousness and social unrest, impacting collective perceptions and individual lives. This term, new normal, has been again in practice after COVID-19 pandemic took place. What is important is that to adapt to the challenges of current pandemic and similar crisis, we respond positively or negatively. Does that have an impact to our personal lives? Does it have impact on the social lives? How does it impact it? How are we open to change on our capacities? Are we going to depend upon someone? All these things we need to think, that we need to manage our resilience in face of adversity, flexibility, creativity, without forcing us to make changes. As long as the whole world is found to be safe, effective, vaccinated, I think this new normal, as people get back to work, school, and more new normal life will begin. New conventions will be there, rituals will be there, images will be there, narratives will, with no doubt, will emerge. So there will be more work. There will be a cultured sociology before we get the beginning to the end. So just to mention here, and everyone will agree that because of this problem, to tackle this complex pandemic situation, there has been emerged resilience, recovery, and restructuring. The concept of 3 R's, and even the World Health Organization, it states that there is an opportunity. We all need to think that in all even at the global level, we all need to think regarding the health consciousness, health systems of our countries. We need to think, we need to brood upon the education sector so that during the emergencies, the nations can take care of the common people. I think it is very, very important that how do we prepare for the new normal and what to expect. What's the new normal about the new normal? The workforce is untethered. So when we say that the workforce is untethered, I would again take you back to 2020, 2021, sorry, 2020 and 2021. At that particular time when it was declared that it is pandemic and all the malls, the schools, all offices were closed and it was imposed that we need to work from home. In that particular time, the works, all professions suffered. And this global lockdown measures forced business to move beyond the physical boundaries. The employees transit to working from kitchen and bedrooms around the world. They were not going to their offices in person, but they were managing from their homes, from kitchens, from bedrooms. And at this particular time, the business, some found success, but the other were having business who really suffered. People who were not able to cope up with the technology and the changed environment, who were not who didn't have growth mindset, I would say. They were not ready to learn and cope up. They were not doing good. The future of works looks increasingly decentralized. This is one change that could definitely stick into the new normal and beyond, because you all will agree that during the pandemic situation, whatever we have learned, it has taught us that continuous learning, we may be in any profession, we may be at any age, I mean, all ages, irrespective of what, are you a student, are you a professionalism, uh, wherever you are, we have been everybody has learned this lesson that we need to continuously adapt to the changes and stick to the new normal and beyond it, and we have to be in a continuous phase of learning. Customer expectations have risen. Now you all know that during this pandemic situation, in education sector, if I say, the teachers were working almost 12 to 14 hours a day. I mean, their work hours were doubled, and at the same time, the expectations of the parents, the students, that was risen. Along with that, people who started doing online business, their customers' expectations also was, they also grew up. Why? Because they got variety, they got lot of opportunity of marketing and getting things online, and where it was a beneficial for the businessman, it was beneficial for the customer also, because being at home without extra expenses, they were getting the things. So using online platforms as agile stockist and delivery arms, retailers were able to connect and channelize, utilizing physical shops as showrooms and providers of unique experience. This created a synergy between the channels to optimize the customer experience, and it is a hallmark of new, I would say, normal. Virtual experience are said to be next big thing, because when we say online, online means virtual. Virtual means where you are not physically going, but you are getting engaged or getting an experience through your laptop, through your mobile phone, and that virtual engagement that has replaced the in person contact. So, this virtual connection, this promise to make us new frontiers. Before this crisis, these kind of experiences were often mesmerizing but rarely practical, because people never thought that such a situation, normally people were reluctant to come online and learn things. But because of the pandemic situation, everything is different in new normal. It has prepared the world where business can insert their products, service into video games, interactive experiences, and the virtual malls are also created where the consumer is can always get back wherever whenever he wants to be, and that too without mask, and he can enjoy shopping more and more. Digital transformation has accelerated. Everybody will agree to it that because of this pandemic situation where people were not ready, it became a compulsion for everyone to make use of digital gadgets. And because of these tragical digital gadgets, the use of internet accelerated. And because that digital acceleration, I think there were people who were not ready to accept the changes. There had been some gaps of haves and have nots in a very big way. Those who wanted, they learned, and they did learn, and they explored to new ways, maybe online. Companies have already undergone digital transformation. And you know that the businesses, the technology is a pivot in many business. All the business, whether it be education, whether it be hospitality, whether it be school education, we are seeing that during this pandemic, technology has played a vital role, and it is the pivot where the customers are revolving around it and meeting their expectations, but still they are stuck in an analog world, have to navigate this cobwebs of darkened uh, times and locked offices. And ultimately, late in 2021, there had been news that yes, it will end and we all will be able to, will all have to live with this virus. And in 2020, in the beginning of 2022, everything was open and the life was coming gradually to the normal. So what I want to emphasize here is that the companies had already digital transformation at the top of their agenda, because this pandemic had already made it very clear that without technology nothing is possible. So if one wants to succeed in their life, in their careers, they will have to learn technology. They will have to learn the way that how they can proceed, which is very important. Agility is the top prize. Now, when the crisis hit, the companies that thrived were the companies that could easily power to address new challenges and priorities. Robust technology and forward thinking strategies enabled them, many companies, to shift quickly. And you will all agree that there were companies who accepted this new challenge and they succeeded in new normal, while others were still struggling for their work. And just imagine a workplace that's highly trained across a variety of disciplines. So, what I want to say is that a workplace that can work for anywhere at any time with everything they need right in their pocket, that's the workforce of the new normal. But changing people surely isn't as easy as strategies or technologies. So, where can today business start? I mean, of course, yes, it was a thought where people were thinking till date after the COVID also, when the things have gradually come to normal, still people are in a dilemma who have lost their near ones, who have lost their uh, business, and they are unable to cope up with their situations. Blaze a trail to skill up for the new normal. Here, I would say that we can definitely go ahead, and it would be that in case we go on demand learning journeys for your laptop, we go on demand to learn more and more technology, and we know our vision, whatever we are doing in life, unless and until we are not clear up to it, we don't have a goal, we do not have growth mindset. In that particular case, it will be a problem. So for that, we will have to blaze our trails. We'll have to demand learning journeys for ourselves, skill up for anywhere by using any app, any online app, so that today we are talking, today the whole world, the whole globe is not talking only of education, not of only academics, but we are talking about the skill development also. And I would mention that the skill of technology is at priority. We need to know it. Take a seat in virtual classroom to learn from thought leaders and industry titans from around the world, which is again very, very important, because I know that to go somewhere, and you all will agree to it, to go to a far off place, to go to a college, to go for an evening class, that definitely adds on extra uh, money involved and time involved, energies involved, which is sometimes difficult for us. But in case we are ready to learn and take a seat in a virtual classroom, I think it is very, very economical, time saving, energy saving, and wherever, anywhere in the world, the leaders would be, uh, the trainers could be, we would learn from the best resource persons. So it is very important that what we are learning. So new tools for new world, I would say, is the companies, we should look for apps for learning, even in education sector, even in business accounts, in your all departments, whether we transport department, and in transport also it can be any mode we see, these apps are really working very well. Contract tracing trail to help online learners skill up in increasingly important process. So we need to contact people who are helping us to move ahead. They are helping us to learn certain skills which are required for our profession, which are important for the students to learn, so that they be successful not only in their uh, schools in one session or two session, but they are successful in their life itself. So virtual boot camp for admins, platform developers are there, platform app builders are there. So we need to just search, and I think if you just search on the Google, you will get all the addresses and uh, the place. But again, I would emphasize for all that, what is important is we should know that what is our requirement, what is our taste is, what is our strong point, what are we strong at, what are our interests, what are our disinterests. So accordingly, our strength, our weaknesses, our interests should be catered, and then we should move ahead. Creating apps and leveraging digital solutions can be the different between delivering for customer and getting let out in the cold. They cap prove to be game changers for many organizations. So mobile phone apps can prove to be a boon. Everybody has seen it. Android and iOS enable users to learn new skills from anywhere at any time. Everyone will agree that during this pandemic situation, we all came to know regarding the Google Meet, Zoom, and many more uh, apps through which we were connected. Maybe we may be at far off, distant places, but we still connected and learned and taught things. So, introducing job listing opportunities for jobs, show us user relevant location based jobs that match their skill set. So, all these things, I mean, if you know what you want, and if you know that where you went, again there are ample of opportunities, ample of jobs. Only the problem is that the employers, they do not get good employees, they do not get skilled employees. In case we are good as a person, we are good human beings, we have certain values in us, we have skills, I think there is no limit for the jobs too. There are n number of opportunities. Shows users relevant location based jobs and that match the skills of the employees. As the post pandemic landscape continue to shift is unpredictable ways, there are companies offering help users stay relevant and connect them with new career opportunities. So just to mention that what are the new tools for the new world, what we have to think is where what is our interest, and look for the companies who is offering that app. From where I know people, I know students who are learning from their home. There are companies, there are tutors who are teaching them online, and the children are not they are not going anywhere, but what they are doing is that they are learning sitting at home, and online learners skill up an increasingly important process. So what is the virtual boot camp? As I have already mentioned that it is for admins, platform developers, there is a platform app builders. So we need to see that how we all can fit into it. So, where will your trail lead in new normal? Challenges are loud and clear, even after the pandemic. As I said, there are people who have yet not been able to settle down. There are challenges, and they're very loud and clear. They do not know people who have lost and they were ill, somebody who has lost their near one. They have not been able to come out of that trauma. What about it? We all need to think that Darwin long back said survival of the fittest. And when Darwin said this survival of the fittest, you all will definitely agree that you need to work hard, you need to learn so that you manage, you face those challenges. Running away from the problem will never give you a solution, but to face will definitely give it to you. So, business must leverage innovative technologies. This is only one way that, in case you want to survive as a student and learn things, you want some degrees, you want some skills, this innovative technologies need to be there. They need to be learned, and business will only flourish in case they make use of innovative technologies. Empower their workforce with new skills, find creative way to deliver exceptional experience of their customer. Why it is important that when you are doing things online, there is a chance that there are gap areas which you are unable to understand as a customer and as a businessman. During online conversations, during online deals, you are unable to make out the gestures. You do not cannot make out the way the one is feeling. You cannot psychologically, you cannot make out how the person or the other party is feeling. So we will, what we can do is that we can take feedbacks from the customers, which will definitely help us how to manage and improve us continuously. So feedback, I always urge this thing that feedback ever doesn't mean that it is the fault finding. When we say feedback, it means we are talking about the gap areas which need some attention and we need to improve ourselves. Whatever stage, maybe an educationist, maybe in a hospitality, maybe in hospitals, maybe in business, anywhere. But in case we are taking the feedback of our customers, it will definitely lead to our growth, and we will ultimately work towards the customer satisfaction and become innovative. The best way to learn is to learn from your customers. So there are nine essentials, as I said, that there are important. The world is thinking about reinventing, restructuring. Similarly, we these three things are very important. Three R's are very important. That is how we respond, how we return, and how we reinvent the things. Because new normal is talking about these nine nine essentials through which return is possible. So we have to return safely, return to be stability, return to energy. Very, very important, because during these time we have seen what a man has done injustice to the nature. Nature has given a great lesson in return to it. It is an alarming situation, a warning for all of us. If we do not take care of Mother Earth, life would be hell for each one, and we will be in shortage of air and water, which are very essential for one's life. It's not only about the human being itself, it is about the all flora and fauna which we need to focus at, because everything minutest of a creature created by that almighty in this universe is very important. So what are the things which we need to focus at to respond, return, and reinvent? That is, we need to see, navigate a dynamic environment and ready the workplace. We should, there is a dire need. There's a dire need where we teach our children to be more sensitive towards their environment. There is a dire need that we teach them to plant things. There is a dire need where they respect. I'm just being reminded of few lines uh, from Guru Granth Sahib, where they say that Pavan Guru Pani Pita Mata Tart Mahat, where they have considered the what you call wind, air, where they have considered air as guru, as a teacher, water as a father, and this earth as a mother. And even in Hindu mythology, you all know that we worship sun, we worship moon, we worship trees, we worship earth. It why it is so? We need to brood, because it is very very important that we look into it. We look into the necessity that we should not disturb the nature, because where nature is boon to us, and how the unbalanced things happening, somewhere there is tsunami, somewhere there is blood flood, there is a cloud burst, and people and villages altogether are being vanished. So we need, what I want to emphasize is that even in our workplace, we need to respect the environment. We need to make our children more uh, towards the environment, to plant more trees, to save the earth, so that there is no scarcity of water, there is no scarcity of clear, pure air. Because wherever we see, this has been really proved by pandemic situation, that when everything was stopped, there was no transportation, there was no industry working, the pollution, which was the people were not polluting the air. We saw that how pure that air was. The rate of pollution in the air came down. I think it is possible, and that is only possible if we take certain steps. Re-examine remote, flexible, and blend working. This is again very very important, that how we are going to proceed. We need to see what were the old ways of doing. We need to be a bit flexible, we should not be strict. And these things during a pandemic situation, we saw that there were problems where children uh, were just thinking that sometimes they were not ready, sometimes they were working from teachers were taking classes at odd hours, because children were not ready to take the class. Sometimes teacher was ready, students were not ready. So we need to check that, and we need to be flexible during those things, because during these online or virtual classes, what we saw is that students were able to what you call they were able to take the classes. That was only important. In education sector, if I talk about, it was important for the teachers that they take care of the students. And even though they were not able to come to schools, but teachers were able to take classes through online, and they were able to complete the syllabus, they were able to complete the uh, syllabus, they were able to take online exams. But we all know that how they were all conducted. So although they were a bit flexible, but what was more important at that particular time was the life of a student. Because I believe that Anything in this world can be recreated, but life is more important. So we all need to value life, if it may be our life or it may be some other life, maybe flora, maybe fauna, animals, maybe plants, anyone. And during those pandemic times in education sector, the teachers learned, they were having blended kind of working. Even at the start of 2022, when traditional classes or the online classes were not there and children were going to schools, even there was a blended kind of learning where online and traditional type of learning was there. So delegates non-core activities to focus on priorities. So we need that, whatever we have learned, we need our children to focus on the priorities. There has to be clarity, priorities, and realign around the new minimum. So this is very important, that anyone, whether we as teachers or we as students or we as business persons, we need to know what is the priority. Because if we know our priorities, if we are clear about our priorities, we'll be able to save our time, energy, and money. So what will happen, and we need to realign the new minimum so that we come to know that what new normal is. Focus on the cost containment and zero basing design. So if we things are clear, we need to focus on the cost containment, use transformation as an opportunity, use transformation as an optimization strategy. So as I said that change is law of nature, and during this pandemic situation, there has been a transformation in every human being, in coming from different strata of life. Everybody has changed, and this transformation is a symbol that we need to adapt changes. Change is inevitable. We cannot change, we cannot stop change, but yes, that change helps us to transform and to adapt. This change, we have transformed into a being who have readily accepted this challenging situation. We are now technology driven, we are working with new strategies so that we achieve our targets. But where during this process, during this transformation, where we are talking that we need to respond over the things, I think at the same time, we need to reinvent things also. We will have to think again that, as I said, that life is more important. We need to support every human being mentally, physically, and financially. Because if we are not able to support them, someone will lag behind. And as a society, where we are today, we are talking about the global society. This pandemic was because of the coronavirus, COVID virus. But I think I have read somewhere that the next pandemic would be because of the mental wellness. As we have seen that life is too fast, people are not able to cope up with them. So what will happen at that particular time, if we are not able to cope up? It would be that someone will lag behind. So we need to focus on everybody. We need to support our workers. They need to be relaxed. There has to be trainings so that nobody is lagged behind. If they are in requirement of finances, we should definitely be helpful to them. Reconfirm the organization purpose and values. Whenever we are joining any of the organization, we should know that what is the vision of that organization, whether the vision of that organization and you as a person, you as an employee, does they match? Because we do not get ill in our life otherwise with work, but it is because when we work in a situation which we do not want to work, something we are not do, we are doing against our will. So when we do things against our will, against our heart, against our wishes, I think that is the real cause when one falls ill. So we need to confirm wherever we are working, with whomever we are working, the values and purpose need to be aligned. Design and ener- energizing employee experience. So whatever you want to do with whomever you want to do in any strata of life, I think it is important that we need to design even as an employee, because employees are the base of any organization. So we also need to design that how our energies that can be channelized and how we can keep growing ourselves to meet the expectations of our vision as well as the vision of the organizations in which we are working. This online learning is the new normal. Yes, but I would correct here is that yes, online is the new normal, but if I would say that the hybrid learning is the new normal. As the students have turned back, all businesses have been turned back to their places. Everything is working. In that case, it is the hybrid learning which will work now. It is for the resources. If you are doing a business, if you are into an education sector, you as a resource person can flourish through online. You can be at any corner of the world, but you will be able to teach, you will be able to do the things from a distant place. To you can in person also, you can go and teach people, you can share your experiences, your learnings, and at a distant place also you can do that. Skill development is very important. In today's scenario, we see that only academics is a gone game. If we are not trained, if we are not training our children to work with hands, if we are not training them for life skills, if we are not training them for values, we are not inculcating certain values like aesthetic sense. I advocated because our children are not in habit of appreciating others. They are always finding faults. And I think that it is a value which is going to create positive attitude. When you appreciate things, you ignore, or your focus is always positive. And when you have a positive attitude and you find positive in anything, everything, anywhere, whatever comes your way or whosoever comes in your way, when you take the positive thing, you success is guaranteed. So skill development is one thing, because knowledge is important, I would say, but at the same time, skills development is equally important. To be open minded, to have growth mindset, to have certain habits in your personality, a static sense, to be compassionate, to have empathy with other people. If you have these skills of 21st century, you know how to work in collaboration, you are a critical thinker, you are innovative. If you have, you know, these things, success is for sure. Internet is very important because even in the schools you cannot think without internet now. Trainings, whether it be for, I'm talking about the education sector, the educational organizations need to train all the stakeholders regarding their vision. They need to make clear what is required from whom. They need to take trainings how to deal with people. They need to train people to achieve certain goals if the stakeholders are given certain trainings. And it is equally for the people who are in business, because if they have growth mindset, if they want to grow in their business, that their training is also very important, and they must connect experts so that they can train them, maybe online or offline. Spread awareness. Spreading awareness, instead we always look at the negative impact. I think nothing is negative, it is our thinking which is going to make it correct or not. So all these things are very very important, which we all need to take care of. I would just talk that online, when we are working on online, we should know our technology. We must expect the unexpected, because number of times our gadgets don't work, our laptop doesn't work, our mobile does, or our mobile is not working, or sometimes what happens is our PPT is not working. We should know that what medium are we going to work with whom, and that too we need to be prepared in case of any kind of failure happens all of a sudden. How are we going to carry our program? So we must always expect the unexpected. Create and maintain a strong presence, which is again very very important, because unless and until you are not able to maintain and create presence, I think it is just completely wastage of time. The learners should know, although everybody knows what am I saying, but yes, that strong presence, when you as a resource person is there, you need to maintain your presence. Set clear expectations for the course. When you are giving an online course, when you are asking your students to take that course, that expectations have to be very very clear, because once you set the expectations, the student or the person who wants that, or we, I as a person or you as a person, if the expectations are not clear, we may not be able to make the best from the course or the resource person we are there. Establish a sense of comfort and develop a community of learners. This is again very important, that we all need to work for this society. We need to create a community of learners. Why it is important? Because I personally believe that after few years, when even the current scenario also, we find very less people who are there, who will stand and listen to you. But we all know that in case we are not creating a community, creating a society who is ready to learn today or tomorrow, they will be a flop show. So in that case, if you want that they should continuously be a success, you have to make, or you have to inculcate the habit of learning in them, and learn to yourself also. For that, what will happen, if it is a process, what will happen, this learning will be a lifetime process. And when it is learning is a lifetime process for you and for the, it will be definitely for the community also in which you are interacting. Because even as a resource person today, I would say that after years, if there are no people who will not listen to me, I will be isolated. And we human beings being social, I think we will never want ourselves to be isolated. We always feel happy when we are in the company of the society members or the community itself. So we need to establish a sense of comfort, and we need to develop a community who is in a continuous learning process. Promote reflection and communication through quality and synchronous discussions. We need to think, we need to, whatever action is being done, whatever act is being done, maybe in education sector, it can be in business, wherever it is, we need to reflect, and then we need to communicate through quality work and discussions. Only then we will be successful. Have a good balance of active leader and active observer. So we as a person, we, in case again, if we want to be successful in education sector as well as in other spheres of life, we need to prove ourselves to be good leaders and good observers, active leaders and active observers. We need to have a good balance between the two. As a leader, we will lead, because a leader at some time is a student, is a follower or something. But at the same time, a person can work as an observer also. But at the same time, the observer can work as a leader or as a student for at some other point of his life. So that balance between the three, I would say, as an active leader or as an active observer, even for our work, we can behave in both the ways. If we are reflecting upon our work as an active observer, we will come to know the gap areas, and we will work better for the community as well as for ourselves. And in case we work as an active leader, we will take the community, we will lead the community, we will lead the organizations to a better future. Request regular feedbacks and be mindful of misinterpretations. As I said, that regular feedback is very, very important, and that misinterpretation is to be checked. We should not confuse ourselves that if somebody is giving a feedback, it does not mean that it is a fault. It is a gap area where we need to work. We must always keep it in mind that the top is always free, and if the top is always free, there is always a scope to improve. So if we keep all these things in mind, any kind of feedback given to us, uh, and we need to, of course, teach this to the community. We need that community, maybe the business class or the student or anywhere, any person in this, coming from any strata of life, I mean, he or she will definitely success. Regular check content, resource and applications. This is very important. Problems faced in online education by teachers and students. This was a time when everything was online, but today we know that everybody is going to schools, to colleges, to universities, and of course, yes, that use of online education is still one way where children are learning. And in case they do not make this as a part of their life, uh, the students will definitely miss something, because uh, the whole world has become one family because of the globalization of this world or this universe. I would say that continuously we need to be using of technology, and we need to have online education too. But there are certain problems which are faced by the students, by the teachers. Increase in screen time, yes, there are classes also now when student is in the school where digital boards are being utilized there also, and even at home mobile phone or laptop is being working. So there the health is being, of course, uh, suffered. That it is having an adverse impact on the health also. So we need to make use of this screen time or the electronic gadgets judicially. But I think that if we give, and I think the research has also proved that in case this limit has been decreased to an hour, and then we give a gap, and then again we make use of the screen, it will not impact us. But yes, it has to be the way of life, because hybrid learning or blended learning is only the mode of education, and we do not want our children to lag behind. Very flexible and informal, yes, this is a problem also, and I would say it is a boon also, because the children have become, during these online classes, or now also when online classes are there, children, uh, the teachers become very, they are very flexible and informal. Children are also very flexible and informal. They want to take the classes at their pace. They don't they sometimes, what happens is that they off the camera, they unmute, they mute themselves, and then they are busy doing something else. So there is no interaction between the teacher and the taught, and the teacher is unable to understand how the student is feeling, whether he has understood or not. So these are the problems which the teachers are facing. As far as students are concerned, this, when teacher is not there in person, what happens is the student is indisciplined is there. He is doing whatever he wants to do. He doesn't want to learn. He's not focused. He's not concentrated towards what she's saying. So I think this informal kind of education could not do what actually was expected to do. Network issues and availability, there are certain remote areas where there is no net, no internet availability is there, all across the world I'm talking. So that issues, sometimes the gadget was not working, sometimes there was no net. So this was online education had to face these problems. And there was very important was the lack of personal touch. Coming just back again, I just want to take your attention that I think I have time, and I'll just take another 5 to 10 minutes, sir. So there, globally, I would say that there are still challenges, and you will all agree to it that apart from the education, school, college, universities, there are other areas also. We need to think there are challenges beyond these classrooms also. And as we all know that today's world is one of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. The society would appear unrecognizable to our great grandfathers. And the intuitive response is that the education we are providing for our young should therefore change radically. First quarter of 21st century, schools, universities, industries, and society at large are asking fundamental questions, whether you like it or not. The education is being challenged. We are in a paradigm shift where technology, demography, social environment, economic economy, political shifts are forcing us to redefine what our educational structure should be. The discussion has also widened from the inner circle of curriculum experts and researchers to broader public. Discourse run amok from academics, neuroscientists to sound bites from politicians, celebrities, and CEOs. At the center of this whirlwind is the young person looking mm, into the midst of the future. Each child, there is a promise of powerful, ethical, creative, critical, and engaged adult they will become. Education challenge, I'm just going to mention 7 challenges. First is the mindfulness. In many so called developed countries and most of the schools, human beings are complaining about high level of stress as they carry out hyperactive lifestyles that can become unhealthy and compulsive. This has led to some response, especially in school area of mindfulness. We need to promote happy, focused, calm, appreciative people. And how well does the mindfulness movement stand up to this challenge? This new age attempts to spiritualize life through meditative practice, while avenues that led to an equally and possible far more mindful lifestyle are relatively simple and have been embedded in school programs for years. We need to check that how our children can become healthy spiritually and how sensibly meditate the interference of new technologies in the average person's life. Education, education challenge number two, which is beyond the classroom teaching, which I am telling, is the machines that human beings have built and the algorithm that drives them are challenging the uniqueness of some and essential constituents of human intelligence. Human beings, including young people, appear increasingly attached to device and dependent on them. What are the implications of education? We know that every individual is unique. I do not imply that some areas of human activity can be outsourced by machines where others can't. This leaves a space for schooling to develop those facets of humanity and there are uniquely human and cannot be taken over by artificial intelligence. Although this singularity of a person which we are working on the artificial intelligence and what machines cannot do, because machines are being built by human beings itself. So this is only the gap area where facets of humanity that uniquely human and cannot be taken over by artificial intelligence, where you understand the psychology of your students. Terrorism is again one aspect where education, I think, whatever is being happening in the at the global level, I would say education is responsible somewhere or other. There is some improvement required in our education sector too. International terrorism has become a global problem. Few societies feel entirely sheltered from a risk of an attack. A climate of fear, mistrust, xenophobia grows in response to these attacks. We all institutions can take and enhance security and support the community with coping mechanism in aftermath of an attack. The fourth is the sustainability. As I said, that in Hindu myth, in Sikh religion, all the deities in the form of planets or in form of plants, earth, water, river, they have been offered prayers, and I think the purpose was only to save our environment, to save our nature. So we are depleting the planet's biocapacity and exponential rate. And if current behaviors do not stop soon, we will quickly exhaust our planet's resource. Human beings will then face a level of resource scarcity, and that will make life intolerable and, if not possible. So, the schools can play a vital role to slow down this life bomb. So, sustainable And I think at world level also, there is an most urgent requirement that we work for our planet. We need to have some behavioral changes so that we all and our future generation can live happily on this earth. They can breathe pure air and they can drink pure water. Fifth is the post truth politics. We all know that in 21st century has led some to argue that truth does not mean what it is, that we are entering a type of post truth era where communication strategies supersede the variety of what is being discussed. I argue that it is true that 21st century democratic policies seem to be saturated in some areas. At the core of it, things have not changed that much since rhetoric, oversimplification, and deception have been standard tools for political gain as far back as we can think. Sixth is the knowledge in 21st century need to be changed. We need to believe, we need to rethink the way of educating our children, which is again very, very important. And it has to be the school who has to own the uh, responsibility for their opening more time opportunities for skill development is the need of the hour to create good human beings is very, very important. Last but not the least is the character building, and which can only happen when we imbibe or we inculcate integrity, we imbibe compassion, we imbibe humanity, we imbibe compassionate compassion in other people, where they have authenticity, where they are able to respect every human being's feeling. And this is the character building, I would say. It is more moral fiber that will determine the scope and style of the response to any given situation. So it is very, very important that the character can only be built through three core concepts, that is discipline, eth- discipline, ethics, and emotional intelligence. Thank you very much. So I think any questions?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your wonderful and marvelous presentation. I hope our participants learn something new from you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Ma'am, now we are
Thank
going to
you.
our quiz competition, and after that we'll
Sure,
come
sir.
back again with our Q&A session. Okay, ma'am?
Right, sir. Right.
Okay, ma'am. Dear participants, now we are going to our quiz session time, and today our quiz code is IGT. The code is IGT. Let's see, enjoy our quiz video. ভিডিওটা জানতে থেকে দিতে হবে জানতে আমি দিয়ে দিচ্ছি হুম লেখা এটা আগে থেকে দিয়ে আসছিলাম এটা দিছি জান কোডটা না ভিডিও চালু করার আগেই দিই মানে আমি যখন বলি তখন দিয়ে আসি তাহলে কংগ্রেচুলেশন সব এটা দিব এরপর আবার কিউএন এর একটা ভিডিও দিব Dear participants, this is our Q&A session time. You can send your this is our quiz competition session time. You can join this session by slido.com, and after that you have to enter the code, and the code is IGP. Then you can join this session. You can also scan our QR code from the screen to join this live quiz session. And today top 10 quiz competition winners get their quiz certificate after this session from our official Facebook page. Our Facebook page address is Institute of Global Professionals. I request everyone to join with your full name, which will directly print on your quiz certificate. And to join this session, you have to go to Chrome or any other browser. And after that, you have to go to slido.com and enter the code. And the code is IGP. Now 32 participants already joined with us. We start our quiz competition after 1 minute later. So join the hurry up and mention your friends in the comment box. We start our quiz competition now, so be ready. Our first question is, the challenges of virtual classes were not far behind despite I had just received a certification in virtual education. The statement is true or false? Option number 2, the statement is false. Next question is, Renaissance works were a valuable means of education in that the pieces were very expensive and truly showed who held true status or anyone could interpret value from art without having literacy skills. And option number 2, anyone could interpret value from art without having literacy skills is the right answer. Next question is, Renaissance works posed new challenges to monarchies and the church. The statement is true or false? Option number 1, the statement is true. Next question is, which of the following is not one of the normal challenges faced by Canadian youth? Is it completing post-secondary education or homelessness? Option number 2, homelessness is the right answer. Next question is, the trend of needing more education to do a job than in the first is education justification. The statement is true or false? Option number 2, the statement is false. Next question is, which is the best way to overcome cultural challenges present in the fire service? Is it associated with people of similar worldview or treat neo personal as you would want to be treated? Option number 2, treat neo personal as you would want to be treated is the right answer. Next question is, the Renaissance began in Paris, France or Florence, Italy? Option number two, Florence, Italy is the right answer. Next question is, which challenges does the Nigerian education face? Is it low budget or lack of governmental support? Option number one, low budget is the right answer. Next question is, education in grades K-12 on a state level includes all of the following except dash. Is it Commissioner of Education or State District Liaison? Option number two, State or District Liaison is the right answer. Last question is, there are thousands of educational and training challenges. The statement is true or false? Option number one, the statement is true. Congratulations everyone and congratulations of our top 10 quiz competition winners. Top 10 quiz competition winners get their quiz certificate after this session from our official Facebook page. Our Facebook page address is Institute of Global Professionals. Thank you everyone. Now we are going to our Q&A session. After a short video clip, we come back again with our speaker. Now, তুলে এখান থেকে এখন কংগ্রেচুলেশনটা তুলে ফেলবো তোমরাটা তুলে ওই সার্টিফিকেট নিজেরটা দিও পার্টিসিপেন্ট সার্টিফিকেট কমেন্ট সেকশনে যাও একদম নিচে চলে যাও এখানে গিয়ে প্রশ্ন করলে শুধু ওইটাতে ক্লিক করলে প্রশ্নটা এখানে দেখাবে আগের মতো কেউ যদি প্রশ্ন করে প্রশ্নটার উপর ক্লিক করলে প্রশ্নটা এখানে আগে আসুক ম্যাডাম আসুক এরপরে প্রশ্ন করছে এরকম দিলে উপরে চলে আসবে Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me? Okay, dear participants, this is our Q&A session time. You can send your question in our comment box. If you have any question related to this topic, you can ask the question in the comment box. Ma'am, our first question is, good afternoon, ma'am. And the question is, what is the biggest challenge facing online education? And the second one is, how does online learning affect students?
See, the biggest challenge in online education is the internet. In remote areas, we don't have any connections. People don't have electronic gadgets. That is another challenge. And sometimes the gadgets doesn't work, or there is all of a sudden the internet, or that is the lab is down, server doesn't work. So that is the basic online education, and children are not attentive. If it is a case of school children, of course, yes, the senior college student, university students, they are very sincere in taking the classes. But as far as school children are concerned, that is again, it is sometimes it seems to be wastage of time and energy because students don't pay attention to it. And if you talk about the effects of the student on the learning effect of students, then because there is the personal touch is missing, the student is not in the class, the teacher cannot make out what the child has understood, what the child has not understood. She cannot make out whether the child, the things are not under her control, it is beyond the classroom situation. So she doesn't know whether the child is taking the class or not. She doesn't have a control even if the child mutes himself, or he switches off the video. In that case, the teacher cannot make it. So I think this is the problem which we the student face. The quality of education is also deteriorated. And if you talk about the health issues, then definitely yes, because once the student have those electronic gadgets with them, there are chances that they misuse it. Instead of they make use of the like gadgets for the learning purpose, they are they are seeing other sites, or they are visiting other sites. And if too much of exposure to the screen is given, it has an adverse effect on their health also. So it has been shown by the research that it impacts the eyes as well as the brain also. So the memory is also gets weaker if there is a continuous exposure to the screen.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next question is, good afternoon, ma'am. What are the different challenges in of education before pandemic and new normal?
Okay, so before pandemic situation in education sector, the biggest challenge was that the teachers were not knowing how to make use of technology. They were not willing to use technology in some of the school where technology was already there. This was one thing. Second challenge was before pandemic that there were many remote areas where there was no net, and this is something now also. But this, as far as students were concerned, the challenge was that they didn't have any electronic gadgets. They had to take mobile phone from their father or their mother, and the father and the mother, if they were working, they were also busy, they also wanted their gadgets. So in that case, the teachers had to work very hard, because if the parents were working, they had to take classes in the morning as well as in the evening. So that created lot of engagement on teacher side. And of the students, for the teachers again, it was a challenge to achieve the required target. Learning outcomes were not being achieved. But yes, if you talk the syllabus, they were able to complete the syllabus. But how much in reality they were able to complete it is, I just cannot comment on it. But yes, certainly they could not do it 100%. And in the new normal, there are challenges in education sector, because till date there are remote areas where there is no internet facility. There are areas where there is no electricity also. There are areas where people are not aware of gadgets. There are students, there are parents who are not willing to give mobile phones or laptops to the students. It is a problem because it involves not only the time of the student, the presence of the student, but it also involves uh, the finances into it. And I think people are in the name of health consciousness, or the adverse effect of the mobile phone or the electronic gadgets, parents are not ready to pay for this uh, mobile phones or laptops, which I think it is a necessity if it is made use in a correct way. Judicially, if we make use of these gadgets, I think they can prove to be good. So this is a challenge that parents are not ready to accept yet, that these gadgets are to be given to the children. because they are more careful regarding their health issues.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. We have no more question. You answer all the questions. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable knowledge with our participants.
Thank you very much.
Ma'am, what is the last and final word for our participants?
Yes. Sorry.
Ma'am, what is your last word for our participants?
Huh? I just want to again emphasize that what I said, beyond the classroom teaching, we need to reinvent, restructure all the things, and we need to think the we need to consider that life is more important than anything else. So we need to create a society where we are taking care of our future, where we are making use of technology, where we are making children long life learners. They are learning. Education should be such that they have love for knowledge. Instead, it is only for examination purpose. If they are in habit of learning, they have love to know things. I think that will take us to the vision or to the goals what we as educationists we have fixed for ourselves. So thank you very much. See you once again.
Thank you, ma'am. Dear participants, today our program name is Neo Normal and Challenges in Education. We are sorry to say that some of our technical problem in our website, we can share our today's webinar code. We hope we will provide it in a short time. So be patient. And thank you everyone for your active participation in this session. We hope we'll meet together in our evening session. Thank you everyone. Stay happy and stay safe.